Yes, Reinhard Van Astrea, the undisputed strongest character in ReZero, blessed by the world itself with an endless array of divine protections that grant him whatever new power he needs the moment he needs it. Reinhard is quite literally built different. So, with that said, what if we forced the strongest man with infinite adaptability to battle some of the strongest adapters in fiction? Would Reinhard win, or would he be trapped in an infinite battle with no clear winner? Before we begin, if you like this video, please subscribe for more content like this, or else Michael will be in touch. Reinhard Van Astrea from the ReZero series possesses an overwhelming array of abilities granted primarily through divine protections, which are supernatural blessings bestowed by Lagna, the primordial heart of the world that regulates souls, mana in that universe. Most people receive at least one divine protection, but Reinhard is uniquely favored, allowing him to gain new ones when he genuinely feels a need in a dangerous situation, and sometimes when he doesn't even ask for one, often after experiencing harm or a clear disadvantage. And these can be brand new protections created on the spot by Lagna. He also wields the Dragon Sword Reed, a legendary divine blade tied to his family legacy. This sword can cut through nearly anything, including intangible concepts. So how well would the skill set fare against some of the strongest adapters? SCP-682, known as the Hard-to-Kill Reptile from the SCP Foundation lore, is an immortal reptilian entity whose primary ability is pure reactive biology and evolution. It must first suffer damage or a direct threat before its body instantly mutates with new traits such as armor, acid resistance, extra organs, flight, energy manipulation, or even shift towards inorganic biology specifically to survive and counter the danger, often weaponizing the adaptation offensively. And it has demonstrated the capacity to adapt to reality-bending effects, near concept erasure, and entities specifically created to terminate it. If Reinhard attacks 682 with his sword or mana strikes, 682 will likely evolve counters such as plating and reflects energy or tougher skin that swords can't penetrate. 682 can also develop a new defensive mechanism like maybe corrosive skin, which will then harm Reinhard and trigger a new divine protection for corrosion resistance or nullification. Even if Reinhard deploys the Dragon Sword Reed, what should be a one-hit conceptual cut, 682 would revive from the destruction due to its extreme regeneration and adapt to gain immunity to concept cutting or similar threats, just like how it adapted to reality erasure and anti-682 countermeasures in the SCP records. Likewise, a mana burst intended to vaporize it would prompt 682 to regenerate and evolve specific resistances to mana-based attacks. SCP-682's adaptation is portrayed as ridiculously potent and relentless, with no retreat due to the being's hatred for all life, making it unlikely to permanently be killed. The result is a very high-risk, true stalemate, with neither being able to achieve permanent death. Darwin from Marvel Comics is a mutant whose power is involuntary reactive evolution, strictly for self-preservation. After being hit or threatened, his body instantly mutates into whatever form will keep him alive, such as developing gills, energy physiology, sponge-like traits against natural attacks, or even absorbing and replicating godlike abilities, as seen when he adapted to Hela's instant death touch and becoming a god of death himself, although later he discarded that form. His adaptation can choose unpredictable survival options like spontaneously teleporting away from overwhelming threats like it did against Worldbreaker Hulk. In a matchup with Reinhard, the feedback loop will be even more erratic, with Reinhard's physical blows or mana attacks prompting Darwin to mutate counters like turning intangible or turning to mana as well to avoid the mana attacks doing any damage. While Darwin could theoretically evolve to somehow gain Lagna's favoritism and match the rate of Reinhard's new abilities, the Dragon Sword could theoretically bypass Darwin's adaptation by cutting through it on a conceptual level that leaves no room for biological mutation to counter, potentially ending the fight in one strike. But Darwin's power has shown that it can preemptively decide the safest option to survive long before he takes any damage, so it's likely that his evolution would teleport him away the moment Reinhard draws the sword or initiates a lethal attack, handing Reinhard the win by default, or leading to an indefinite stalemate if Darwin remains determined to win. Darwin lacks Reinhard's combat skill destructive output and the sword state mastery. So even if adaptations mirror each other temporarily, he has not demonstrated the capacity to sever the odd Logna soul world link. So Reinhard holds the overall edge through superior application. Although it has been shown that Darwin can turn off someone's power, Reinhard's power isn't really granted by his own body, but a separate force that Darwin wouldn't really be influencing. DCAU Amazo is a technological android from Justice League Unlimited, and its power allows it to scan and perfectly copy powers, skill, physiology by observing his opponent, instantly replicating the full Justice League's abilities at peak strength before technologically self-evolving to remove weaknesses, upgrade them, and scale into a golden, nigh omnipotent form of vast energy manipulation, though he has a documented vulnerability to chaos magic. Against Reinhard, Amazo will rely on strong mimicry. Reinhard's initial sword or mana attacks, allowing Amazo to scan and copy the displayed effects before evolving upgrades that allow Amazo to copy his overall skill and attacks. However, Amazo hitting Reinhard with a mana-based attack will trigger new divine protections in response. Amazo can also mimic the visible effects of protections repeatedly, and has shown advanced self-adaptation even against evil counterpart versions of himself in the related DCAU stories. There is a very clear way Reinhard could win. Reinhard could leverage his existing mana absorption from his effective gate, which already nullifies and drains energy. Combine that with a new divine protection granted after taking hits from Amazo's cosmic blasts, and he could gain a new divine protection that extends mana absorption to technological or cosmic energies in a manner similar to how Solomon Grundy's chaos magic allowed him to feed on and redirect Amazo's own blasts against the android, forcing a retreat. This would grant Reinhard a temporary victory, but who knows what would happen if Amazo returned stronger. Maharaga, the eight-handled sword.
I would not lose to this so-called hero. I am simply teleporting 50 light years away and calculating a way to bypass the force granting this Reinhard his power. His blade is also nothing special, it's simply the application of cutting phenomenon. It will not take me long to calculate a counter.
Maharaga, the eight-handled sword Divergent Sila Divine General, is a powerful Shikigami summoned through ritual, whose core ability is rapid, near unlimited adaptation to any phenomena it experiences. After taking hits or exposure, it quickly develops resistances and eventually full immunity to a specific attack type or technique, allowing it to counter physical blows, cursed energy, or other effects with escalating efficiency. In a confrontation with Reinhard, Maharaga will quickly adapt to his physical blows. After the first exchanges, Reinhard will likely notice Maharaga healing, and this would prompt him to respond with a mana burst intended to instantly vaporize it and end the fight outright. But this could run into a bit of an issue. On the chance Maharaga survives the initial overwhelming attack and adapts, each attack Reinhard would land would do less and less damage. The fight will enter an almost endless feedback loop where Maharaga gains resistances and then immunity to both physical blows and mana-based attacks, while Reinhard in turn receives new divine protections after taking hits and becoming resistant and immune to whatever Maharaga throws back. This logic extends to the Dragon Sword Reed, which should theoretically one-shot Maharaga or nullify his adaptation ability via its conceptual cutting power. But in a scenario where this is not how it works and Maharaga's ability continues to function, it would rapidly develop immunity to the blade as well. Eventually, Maharaga would reach a stage of adapting directly to Reinhard's existence itself. Yet, this would not conclude the battle because the divine protection of the Phoenix allows infinite revival upon death. Maharaga might adapt to Reinhard's presence and attacks, but since his divine protections are granted by Logna rather than the inherent phenomena Maharaga can fully nullify, there would be no reliable way for the Shikigami to stop revivals or the ongoing granting of new protections. The result would be a complete stalemate where neither side can effectively hurt or permanently kill one another, resembling the hypothetical endless battle between Reinhard and Regulus Corneus.